I woke up this morning worth $2,300,000,000. 0 cents. Not because I'm smarter than you, not because I work harder, not because I got lucky with some tech stock or inheritance. I'm worth billions because 50 years ago, I learned 7 mental tricks that completely rewired how my brain processes decisions. And here's what'll make you angry. I could have taught these to you when you were 12 years old. They're that simple, but nobody did. So you've been making financial decisions with a broken operating system your entire life. Let me prove it to you right now. Think about the last major financial decision you made: buying a car, choosing a job, making an investment, whatever. I guarantee you made that decision the way 95% of people do. You looked at what seemed good, what felt right, what your gut told you. And that's exactly why you're not wealthy yet. Because your gut is an idiot. Your instincts about money are wrong. And the 7 tricks I'm about to share will show you exactly why your brain has been sabotaging your wealth for years without you even noticing. Where are you watching from? Drop your city below. And if you're tired of working hard but staying broke, hit subscribe, because in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to reprogram the way you think about every financial decision for the rest of your life. Fair warning, this will make you uncomfortable. You'll realize you've been doing almost everything backwards. But that discomfort, that's your brain upgrading. That's wealth creation starting to click. Here's what most people don't understand. Getting rich isn't about finding the perfect investment or starting the perfect business or getting the perfect job. Those are outcomes. I'm talking about inputs, the daily thinking patterns that create those outcomes. Every single morning, wealthy people wake up and run their brains through 7 specific mental processes that broke people never use. Not because we're special, because we learned a different operating system. And starting today, you're going to learn it too. These aren't motivational nonsense. These aren't vague principles like think positive or believe in yourself. These are specific mechanical thinking patterns used by every self-made billionaire I've ever met. Warren uses them. Bill Gates uses them. Every successful person you've heard of runs these same mental programs, often without even realizing it anymore because they've become automatic. By the end of this video, they'll be automatic for you too. But first, let me show you why your current thinking patterns have been keeping you poor. Right now, your brain makes financial decisions based on emotion, social pressure, short-term gratification, and pattern matching to what everyone around you is doing. This is normal. This is how 95% of humans operate. It's also why 95% of humans never build significant wealth. Your brain evolved over millions of years to help you survive, not to make you rich. The mental shortcuts that kept your ancestors alive in the wilderness: avoid loss at all costs, copy what the tribe does, grab rewards immediately, trust your gut feelings. These same shortcuts destroy wealth in the modern world. You're running caveman software in a digital economy, and it's costing you millions of dollars over your lifetime. The 7 tricks I'm about to teach you are designed to override your broken instincts and replace them with thinking patterns that actually create wealth. Some will feel unnatural. Some will seem counterintuitive. Some will go against everything you've been taught. Good. That's how you know they work. If wealth building felt natural and comfortable, everyone would be rich. The fact that it feels weird and uncomfortable is exactly why most people never do it. You're about to become one of the few who do. Let's start with the first mind trick, and I'm warning you now, this one's going to flip your brain inside out. It's called inversion thinking, and it's the single most powerful mental tool I've used in 70 years of building wealth. Here's how it works. Instead of asking, how do I get rich, which is what everyone asks, you ask the opposite question: what guarantees I stay poor? Instead of seeking success, you identify and avoid failure. This sounds backwards. It sounds like negative thinking, and it's the exact opposite of everything self-help gurus tell you. It's also responsible for more of my wealth than any other thinking pattern I've ever used. Let me show you why this works so much better than positive thinking. Let's say you want to build a $1 million investment portfolio. Most people ask, what's the best investment that'll make me a millionaire? So they chase hot stocks, listen to tips, follow gurus, try to find the next Apple or Amazon, and they lose money every single time. You know why? Because that question, what's the best investment, is impossible to answer. Nobody knows. It's guessing. It's gambling. Now watch what happens when you use inversion. Instead of asking, what's the best investment, you ask, what guarantees I lose money? Suddenly the answer becomes crystal clear. Buying things you don't understand, investing in businesses with no profits, following hot tips from people who aren't rich, selling in a panic when prices drop, paying high fees to fund managers who can't beat the market, trying to time the market, buying on margin, investing money you need in the short term. These behaviors guarantee you lose money. Every single one of them is provable, documented, and certain. So if you simply avoid these guaranteed to fail behaviors, you'll beat 90% of investors without doing anything particularly smart. You just stop doing stupid things. This is the secret wealthy people know but never talk about. Wealth isn't built by being brilliant. It's built by not being stupid. Every disaster I've avoided, every catastrophic loss that never happened, every financial crisis I sailed through untouched, all of it came from asking one simple question before every decision: what's the dumbest possible thing I could do right now? Then I made absolutely certain I didn't do that thing. That's it. That's the whole trick, and it's made me billions of dollars because while everyone else was chasing brilliance, I was busy avoiding stupidity. You can start using this today, right now, this minute. Whatever financial decision you're facing, stop asking, what's the best choice? Start asking, what choice would guarantee this fails? Make a list. Write down every stupid decision you could make in this situation. Then simply don't do any of those things. What's left might not be perfect, but it won't be catastrophically wrong, and over time, not being catastrophically wrong compounds into extraordinary wealth. This is trick number one, and honestly, if you stop the video right now and only use this one pattern for the rest of your life, you'd be wealthier than 90% of people. But we're just getting started. The second mind trick wealthy people use every single day is something I call the Circle of Competence, and violating this rule is the number one reason smart people stay broke. Here's the brutal truth. You don't know as much as you think you know, and the gap between what you think you understand and what you actually understand is where all your money disappears. Rich people know exactly what they know. And more importantly, we know exactly what we don't know, and we refuse, absolutely refuse, to bet money outside our circle of true understanding. Let me hit you with a real example that'll make this clear. In the late 1990s, everyone I knew was getting rich from tech stocks. Dot-com companies with no revenue, no profits, no real business, just websites and promises, were going up 500%, 1,000%, 2,000%. People who knew nothing about technology, nothing about business, nothing about valuation, they were making millions, and they all thought I was an idiot for sitting it out. My friends mocked me. The media called me outdated. But here's the thing. I didn't understand those businesses. I couldn't explain how they made money because they didn't make money. I couldn't value them because there was nothing to value. They were outside my circle of competence. So I didn't invest. I looked like an idiot until the crash came. Then everyone who'd been getting rich lost everything. And I still had all my money because I never bet it on things I didn't understand. This is the difference between wealthy people and broke people. We're honest about what we don't know. Most people aren't. They hear about crypto, they throw money at it without understanding blockchain. They hear about a hot stock, they buy it without reading a single financial statement. They invest in a friend's startup without understanding the business model. They're gambling, calling it investing, and wondering why they keep losing. It's because they're operating outside their circle of competence. And the market punishes that mistake without mercy. Here's how you apply this, starting immediately. Grab a piece of paper right now, pause the video if you need to, and write down 3 things you genuinely, deeply understand. Not things you've heard about, not things you find interesting, things you could teach a college course about. Maybe it's your specific industry. Maybe it's real estate because you've bought 5 properties. Maybe it's a particular type of business you've worked in for 15 years. These are your circles of competence. From this moment forward, you only invest money in opportunities that fall inside these circles. Everything else, no matter how exciting, how profitable everyone says it is, how much FOMO you feel, you pass. You let other people get rich. You stay in your lane. This will be one of the hardest rules you ever follow, because you'll watch opportunities pass by that make other people wealthy. You'll feel stupid. You'll question yourself. But here's what you won't do. You won't lose everything betting on things you don't understand. And over decades, the money you don't lose by staying in your circle will compound into more wealth than you could ever make by gambling outside it. Rich people use this trick every single day because we learned the expensive way, that stepping outside your circle of competence is how you go broke fast. Stay inside it, and you build wealth slowly but certainly. That's trick number 2. Now let me show you the third mind trick, and this one's probably costing you more money than everything else combined. It's called opportunity cost, and most people have never even heard of it. Here's the concept in one sentence. Every time you spend $1, you're not just losing that dollar, you're losing every dollar that dollar could have become. And if you don't understand that difference, you're hemorrhaging future wealth every single day without even knowing it. Let me make this painfully concrete. You've got $20,000, 0 cents, sitting in your savings account. You're thinking about buying a new car because your current one's a few years old and you want something nicer. Can you afford the car? Sure, you've got the cash. Most people stop thinking right there. They've got the money, they want the thing, they buy it. Transaction complete. Except here's what they just did. They didn't spend $20,000, 0 cents. They spent $271,841, 0 cents. Let me show you the math, and this is going to hurt. That $20,000, 0 cents invested in a basic index fund earning average market returns of 8% per year becomes $43,178, 0 cents in 10 years, $93,219, 0 cents in 20 years, $200,963, 0 cents in 30 years, $4,534, 0 cents. But wait, it gets worse. Because you're not just investing $20,000, 0 cents once. If you'd kept that money, invested and added just $200, 0 cents per month, the rough equivalent of a car payment, that grows to $1,100,000, 0 cents over 40 years. So when you bought that car, you didn't spend $20,000, 0 cents. You spent your chance at becoming a millionaire. That's opportunity cost. That's what rich people see that you don't. This is why wealthy people are so careful with money, not because we're cheap, but because we see the invisible price tag on everything. Before I spend money on anything, I run a calculation in my head. What is this really costing me in future wealth? Sometimes I still buy the thing. Sometimes the value I'm getting is worth more than the compound interest I'm giving up. But I make that choice consciously, with full knowledge of what I'm trading away. Most people never run this calculation. They see a price tag and think, that's the cost. It's not. The cost is what that money would become if you invested it instead. Here's your new rule starting today. Before you spend more than $500, 0 cents on anything, calculate what that money becomes in 20 years at 8% growth. Write down that number. Look at it. Then ask yourself, Is this purchase worth giving up that future amount? Sometimes the answer will be yes. You need a reliable car. You need to fix your roof. You need tools for your business. But most of the time, once you see the true cost, you'll realize you're trading enormous future wealth for things you barely care about. This one mental shift, seeing opportunity cost instead of just price, will save you hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. Rich people do this math unconsciously every single day because we know every dollar has two lives, the life it lives today and the life it could live in the future if you let it compound. Poor people only see the first life. That's why they stay poor. All right, let's get to trick number 4, and I need you to pay close attention here because this one's going to feel uncomfortable. It's about overcoming loss aversion bias, and it's the reason most people can't build wealth even when they're making good money. Here's what loss aversion means. Psychologically, losing $1,000 0 cents hurts about twice as much as gaining $1,000 0 cents. Feels good. Your brain is hardwired to avoid losses more than seek gains. And this hardwiring, which helped your ancestors survive, is destroying your financial future every single day. Let me show you exactly how this plays out. You invest $5,000 0 cents in a stock, it goes up to $8,000 0 cents. You feel great, so you sell, locking in your $3,000 0 cents profit because you're afraid it might go back down. Smart move, right? No, terrible move. Because what you just taught your brain is take small profits quickly to avoid potential loss. Now, same scenario, different outcome. You invest $5,000 0 cents, it drops to $3,000 0 cents. You've lost $2,000 0 cents. But instead of selling, you hold on to it because selling means admitting you were wrong. It means locking in a real loss. So you hold, hoping it comes back. And it keeps dropping. This is loss aversion destroying wealth. You sold your winner too early and held your loser too long. And if you're honest with yourself, you've done this exact thing multiple times. Wealthy people train ourselves to do the exact opposite, and it goes against every natural instinct you have. When we realize we made a mistake, bought something that's going down, we sell immediately, that day, that hour. We don't care that it means admitting we were wrong. We don't care that it locks in a loss because we understand something crucial. The money you've already lost is gone. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you do with your money from this point forward. Holding on to a losing investment because you don't want to admit you were wrong is letting your ego cost you money. That's stupid. And rich people refuse to be stupid just to protect our feelings. On the flip side, when we've got a winning investment, we hold it for years, decades even, through ups and downs and scary moments. We don't sell just because it went up. We let it compound. This is how wealth actually builds. But your loss-averse brain will fight you on this every step of the way. It'll scream at you to sell the winner and hold the loser. You have to override those instincts consciously, forcefully, every single time. Here's your new rule. Every time you're making a decision about an existing investment, pretend someone else made the initial decision, not you. If your friend came to you and said, I bought this stock at $5,000, 0 cents. It's now worth $3,000, 0 cents. Should I hold it? You'd say, sell it immediately. Why? Because it's not your mistake, so you're not emotionally attached to being right. Do this with your own money. Before every decision, ask yourself, if I didn't already own this, would I buy it today at the current price? If the answer is no, sell it today, right now. This removes ego from the equation and lets you make decisions based on what's best going forward, not what makes you feel better about your past. Rich people practice this every single day because emotional attachment to past decisions is the fastest way to stay broke forever. The fifth mind trick is thinking in probabilities instead of certainties, and this shift alone will put you ahead of 95% of people. Here's what I mean. Broke people think in black and white. This will work or it won't. This is good or bad, I'm right or wrong. It's all or nothing thinking, and it's killing your wealth. Rich people think in percentages. This has a 60% chance of working. That has a 30% probability. This decision increases my odds by 10%. Everything is a calculation. Nothing is certain. And we make decisions based on tilting probabilities in our favor over time, not on demanding impossible certainty before we act. Let me show you why this matters so much with a concrete example. You're thinking about starting a business. Broke person thinking asks, will this succeed? That question demands a yes or no answer. It demands certainty, and since nobody can guarantee success, you never start. You're paralyzed by the need for certainty in an uncertain world. Rich person thinking asks, based on my knowledge and research, what's the probability this succeeds? Maybe 40%. What could I do to increase that to 50%, to 60%? Now you're working with reality. Now you're thinking about improving odds instead of demanding guarantees. This is how I've made every major decision for 7 decades. I never ask, will this work? Because that's an impossible question. I ask, what's my probability of success? And is that probability good enough given the potential upside and downside? Sometimes a 30% chance is worth taking if the potential gain is enormous and the potential loss is limited. Sometimes a 70% chance isn't worth it if the reward is tiny and the risk is catastrophic. It's all math. It's all probabilities. It's never certainty. Here's how you rewire your brain starting today. Stop using certainty language. Stop saying this will definitely work or that's definitely a bad idea. Start assigning probabilities. I think this has about a 65% chance of success. That probably has a 20% chance of working. Force yourself to put numbers on your predictions. Track them. See if you're calibrated correctly. Over time, you'll get better at estimating probabilities. Your predictions will become sharper, but more importantly, you'll stop demanding impossible certainty before you act. You'll start making decisions based on favorable odds, taking action even when success isn't guaranteed. And that's how wealth gets built, by taking intelligent risks with favorable probabilities over and over until the math works in your favor. Rich people do this unconsciously every single day because we know certainty is an illusion and probability is reality. The 6th trick wealthy people use daily is the checklist method, and I know what you're thinking. A checklist? That's your big secret? Yes, because your brain is unreliable, especially when you're excited or afraid or under pressure. A checklist forces you to think through critical questions before making a decision, even when your emotions are screaming at you to act fast. This simple tool has prevented more financial disasters for me than anything else I've ever used. I've been using investment checklists for 50 years. Before I invest in any company, I go through the exact same questions every single time. Do I understand how this business makes money? Does it have a competitive advantage that'll last? Is management honest and capable? Is the price reasonable? Would I be comfortable holding this for 10 years? Can I explain this business to a child? These questions force me to slow down and think when my brain wants to get excited and move fast. Every time I've violated my own checklist because I thought something was special, I've regretted it. Every single time. When I follow the checklist, I avoid disasters. Here's the trick. You have to create the checklist before you're in the heat of the moment. When you're excited about an opportunity, your brain will rationalize anything. It'll skip important questions. It'll convince you that this time is different. A pre-made checklist prevents this. It's your defense against your own worst instincts. Before you buy a house, before you change jobs, before you make any major financial decision, pull out your checklist and make yourself answer every question honestly. If you can't, you don't proceed. Period. The 7th and final mind trick is emotional detachment from short-term outcomes. And this might be the hardest one to master, but it's also one of the most valuable. Here's what it means. Wealthy people don't get excited when things go well in the short term, and we don't panic when things go badly. We stay emotionally flat, focused on the long-term process, not the daily or weekly or monthly results. This is incredibly hard because your brain wants to react to everything immediately. Let me give you the perfect example. The stock market drops 20% in a month. Your portfolio loses $100,000, 0 cents. What do most people do? They panic, they sell, they lock in losses because they can't handle the emotional pain of watching their wealth disappear. What do rich people do? Nothing. We don't even check our portfolios because we know that short-term volatility is noise, not signal. We know that if we're invested in good businesses at reasonable prices, temporary drops don't matter. In fact, they're buying opportunities. The same thing happens in reverse. The market goes up 30%, everyone's getting rich, your friends are bragging about their gains, your portfolio goes up $150,000, 0 cents. What do most people do? They get cocky, they start taking bigger risks, they think they're geniuses. What do rich people do? Nothing. We don't get excited. We know that short-term gains don't mean we're smart. They mean we got lucky with market timing. We stay humble, stay cautious, stick to our process. This emotional flatness, not reacting to short-term wins or losses, is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. It prevents you from selling in panic and buying in greed, which is how most people destroy wealth. The way you build this skill is simple, but not easy. Stop checking your investments constantly. Stop reading financial news. Stop comparing your returns to your friends. Focus on your process. Are you following your principles, your checklist, your strategy? And let the results take care of themselves over years and decades. These 7 tricks, inversion thinking, circle of competence, opportunity cost, overcoming loss aversion, probabilistic thinking, checklists, and emotional detachment, these are the thinking patterns that separate wealthy people from everyone else. They're not complicated, they're not secret, they're just different from how most people's brains naturally work. And that difference, compounded over decades, is worth millions of dollars. You can start using all 7 of these today, right now. They don't cost money, they don't require special education, they just require you to think differently. And if you actually implement these patterns instead of just nodding along and forgetting them tomorrow, your financial life will transform completely. Not overnight, not in a month, but over years, these tricks will rewire how you make every decision, and those better decisions will compound into wealth you can't even imagine right now. That's how I've built billions. Not by being smarter than you, by thinking differently than you. And now you know exactly how.